Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. This is Kaustubh Jagtap or KJ here from Nagomi Security. I wanted to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to join our webinar today. Before we get started, just a reminder that this webinar is being recorded and the process recording will be sent to all registrants and attendees and also will be available on Nagomi's website under Resources, Resource Center, and Webinars. If you do have any questions about the content that is being discussed today or about the Nagomi platform in general, please feel free to use the Q&A functionality provided by Zoom webinar to share your questions and ask your questions. We will be answering all questions towards the end during the Q&A session. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Enterprises typically own about a minimum of 50 security tools, and making sense of those that data and insights can quickly become very overwhelming. The complexity is amplified when tool owners, SecOps leaders, or security executives must consolidate and report on this data to drive critical time-sensitive decisions. Relying on incomplete and inaccurate information can result in errors, misalignment, and missed opportunities. Today's webinar, based on the agenda you can see here, explores how Nagomi's new program performance management module addresses this challenge, enabling you to effectively track and communicate the performance of your security program using real evidence-based metrics. Today's speakers are amazing speakers include Jonathan Meller, who is Nagomi's co-founder and chief product officer, and Hadass Bloom, product manager extraordinaire here at Nagomi Security. Jonathan brings extensive experience in cybersecurity and product innovation, using his deep technical expertise to shape Nagomi's product vision. He ensures the company solutions stay ahead of industry needs and adapt to the ever-evolving threat landscape. Hadass brings over a decade of cybersecurity experience, starting her career in security research before transitioning into product management. Her deep understanding of threat landscapes and security challenges gives her a unique perspective on real concerns that organizations face today. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Over to you, Jonathan.
Thank you, KJ. Perfect. So, we've been talking to a lot of security leaders in the 2.5 years that Nagomi exists. And what we're seeing is that today's security leaders are facing a completely different landscape than just a few years ago. We see the pressure being compounding from every direction, whether it's based on high-profile breaches that have shaken both customers' trust, investor confidence, and it's putting security preparedness and readiness under a microscope. Now more than ever, boards, executives are asking tough questions because they understand cyber risk isn't an IT or technology issue, it's a business issue. At the same time, we see that the regulatory landscape is completely changing and tidying, while threat actors are continuing to move much faster. And that makes real-time insight a must in an organization rather than a nice to have like it was before. Taking all this into consideration, we also talk a lot about budget. But every dollar spent is being scrutinized. CISOs are expected not just to protect the organization, they need to prove the work that they're doing. They need to prove the value of every tool, every initiative, and every action that they're taking. As we see, the expectations are high, the stakes are real, and the tolerance for guesswork is shrinking relatively fast. So we see that mostly with the way that CISO's role is being shifted, and specifically where they are engaging with relevant stakeholders and specifically their board. Talking to CISOs, doing our poll, we saw that almost 90% of security leaders are engaging on a regular cadence with the board, and half of them are doing it on a quarterly basis. That tells us that cybersecurity is no longer just a technical function, it's a core part of a business strategy, and it's a business issue. But with that seat at the table, with the CISOs and CIOs are now part of the conversation, there are new expectations that come along with that. We, as boards, are asking for more than just activity update. They want clear alignment with the business. Are we doing the right things? Are we doing them well? Are we moving the needle when it's come to mitigating actual risk? And as a result, we see that CISOs are now under pressure to demonstrate measurable performance and impact. It's not just basic coverage. It's not about, anecdotal data that they can collect from different tools. It's about how we connecting the security program with business outcomes. We're talking about things like how do we reduce risk, what is our resiliency, and how do we allocate and spend our resources. And we see it from the team as well. They've been asked to deliver answers, not just metrics. They need to do it faster, and they need to adapt it to different stakeholders and doing it all with fewer resources. So that's a situation that we see in Nagomi security. And, we have done this poll. We've done this with multiple CISOs to just try to understand what is the effort that is being allocated nowadays to this situation. How much time does an average security team is actually spending on creating monthly security report? Like, what is the actual output that is coming from this? In the meantime, KJ is sharing a quick survey with our chat, just so we'll see if the chat and the attendees are aligning with what we saw. So we'll give it just a couple of minutes before we move on. Okay, and with that in mind, let's see what we saw. So, talking to CISOs in the field, what we are seeing that, first of all, reporting is time suck. Basically, CISOs are telling us that their team is spending between 30 and 50% of their week just pulling and collecting data. It's not focusing on fixing real issues. It's not about improving their existing control. It's basically trying to stick together a bunch of spreadsheets, screenshots to make numbers look right, basically. And we see that even though teams are managing to get this data, is actually really disjointed. CISOs and security teams are bombarded and overloaded with the amount of security tools. The average organization have over 40 security tools, and they all talk different language. We are talking about endpoint, identity, cloud, vulnerability scanners, and others. None of them talk to each other by default. And they all come with their own dashboard, their own definition of success criteria. But you're basically stitching together a puzzle using pieces that are not cut from the same box. And even if we get all the data, we've then been asked, well, what does it actually mean? Dashboards are a great way to show activities. We can share information about alerts, the scan that we're running, the cadence, logging changes, but none of them are actually telling us a story if we are secure. They don't go to the business. They don't talk about the different aspect of the business. Basically, they don't show you where you should focus. They don't show you what to do, and they don't help you to explain it to the stakeholder that is relevant for leadership, for the board. We're basically trying to improvise our way into the conversation. And this is why we in Nagomi Security decided to build our new program performance management platform, because no team should work this hard to answer, a very simple questions. Is our security program running effectively? Is it actually working? So what is our approach in Nagomi Security? Our approach is actually conduct from three main pillars. The first one is correlation. We do the heavy lifting when it's come to connecting the dot between assets, the control that are being deployed to them, and the threat that could be targeting us. We do it across all tools, all teams, all environment. That means that it's not just about having siloed data points. Now you can actually see how things are related, correlated, where there are gaps, and what is the most impactful thing that we need to tackle. The next pillar is to really understand from a context and a perspective, what is the actual impact of any gap that we might find to our security program. This is not just translating activity or usage. This is actually translating the existing tool that we have, the way they are deployed, managed, configured, or running, are actually reducing risk in a way that align with our business priorities. And finally, this is no longer a point-in-time exercise. This is continuously, we allow teams to continuously monitor and track the way that their environment is running. This is not once a quarter, not when we are preparing for a board meeting. This is an ongoing strategic part of how we manage security. whether we are talking to our technical teams, allowing them to really grasp what they need to act, or when we translate to our leadership or executive teams, where is it our C-levels, our board, or any other. Now, finally, you have a consistent, trusted view where we are standing, what's working, and where we have to go next. And with that, I will pass it over to Hadass to share some of the amazing work that the team has done with an actual product demo.
Great. Thank you, Jonathan. I'll quickly share my screen. Cool. So, as a reminder, the first thing that we do in Nagomi is connect to your existing tools using read-only APIs, which are extremely easy to set up. And from here, we pull everything together, your assets, configurations, policies, and controls, and we map them to real-world threats. These three tabs actually demonstrate pretty well what Jonathan was speaking about before, about the Nagomi approach. Each of them emphasizes the correlated data and helps you understand and track and report on different aspects of your security posture. The first screen, the tool utilization screen, helps you understand if your existing investments are performing as they should. We show you how well each tool is covering your attack surface at different levels, and more importantly, where you have coverage gaps, and also help you understand whether you are actually using your tool's functionalities and controls effectively, so whether you are maximizing the utilization of them. And each of these, of course, can be double-clicked on, and you can dig deeper into each of them and understand the specifics up to the level of the specific asset itself. The threat exposure screen helps you understand your organizational threat exposure. This is where we show you how we mapped the assets and misconfigurations to real-world threats, campaigns, MITRE techniques, and vulnerabilities in your environment. These are all mapped to prescriptive defensive capabilities, which you can, where you can have visibility to what are the most impactful, effective actions you can take to reduce your risk against threat. And moving on to the program performance management screen, which is where we will double click on because it is the main part of the new module. This screen is where Nagomi emphasizes the connection of the dots, so the assets, threats, and controls, and helps you reduce that time to track and report. So here you can see how well you're performing across your different business groups. It can be your business units, your teams, your regions, or departments. You can dig deeper into different security programs. For example, we can dig into my identity program, and again, see how well you are covered, utilizing your tool's various controls, where you have gaps and can improve. And again, we provide a prescriptive defensive plan that helps you understand what are the most meaningful actions you can take to improve this specific security program and reduce, for example, in this case, identity risks. The defensive capabilities are also mapped to compliance frameworks like CIS and NIST, so that you can follow your performance against these frameworks as well. So a short recap, the performance management is possible, as I said, both from different parts of your organization, right? Different parts of your organization, and also specific programs, but also can be measured against specific threats. So if you're interested in following how you're doing in phishing or ransomware, you can also see that here. And all of these, as you can see, you can measure yourself against industry peers, which is very important when making decisions on what to improve. So what you essentially get with these views is a full 360-degree view of your environment at different angles by surfacing gaps, tracking performance, and knowing what you can actually do about them. But if you want to go beyond what these views provide you with out of the box, we built a fully customizable dashboard space which I am specifically excited about. In this space, you can create multiple dashboards that allow you to create targeted views for the questions that matter most to you. It can be to track performance for individual programs. Again, the identity program dashboard example. It can be persona-based, so if you wanted to create a CISO board or a SecOps board. It can be overall company quarterly metrics, and basically anything of your choice. Once you create a dashboard, so for example, I have this dashboard that I created, you can find dozens of out-of-the-box metrics in our metrics library. These metrics are continuously built by our security research team based on interesting security performance questions and can be easily drag and dropped into the dashboard and adjusted to your choice. So I can filter by the business group that is relevant to me. Again, if it's a specific location or my VIP assets or across different business units, I can choose the visualization that is interesting to me. But most importantly, I can define thresholds to track my KPIs against this metric. And again, just like with custom dashboards, like we showed here, if you want to balance the things that Nagomi gives you out of the box and are based on your findings with enabling flexibility, we also provided a way to create custom metrics for the metrics library. So basically, you can base metrics on your correlated deduplicated data we pulled in and mapped from your tools to answer specific questions you'd like to track. You do this by creating a filter on your asset inventory, which is already correlated and deduplicated, and you can save it as a metric. So for example, here, I created a filter that looks for all the devices that do not have my EDR and that have a vulnerability and also a deprecated OS. So I decided that this is the security question I would like to track my performance against, and if I am improving, I can save it as a metric. Devices to track. And then easily, just like with other metrics, I can pull it in. This is the metric I created. I can pull it into my dashboard, follow it, and also create a threshold on it. Add notes, again, very customizable experience. And now that you have the visibility and understanding and tracking of the gaps and of your performance and the questions of interest to you, these dashboards can actually go two ways, both of which are needed and important. One of them is to dig deeper into the specific metric and see the asset details and basically drive action and remediation of the underlying data. The second is communication. So you can directly communicate with peers or stakeholders from the dashboard. So you can export it, but you can also share a pre-built report, which is also part of our program performance, a pre-built report that we made for you based on different needs. So of course, it's based on your data and insights from across your environment. And for example, if you wanted to see how well you are performing against the Scattered Spider campaign, you can always look into it and you get a detailed report of all your information against this campaign. So again, that balance between flexibility and what we provide you with out of the box. So just to wrap up before I pass the mic back to Jonathan, what you get from Nagomi's program performance management module is the ability to leverage the correlated data about your assets and tools to easily get clarity and track your organization's performance over time from different perspectives and angles of interest. This way, Nagomi not only provides you the gaps, insights, and business context, but it also saves all the time spent, just like Jonathan mentioned before, on data consolidation and on building the manual reports to track and communicate with. Back to you, Jonathan. Thank you.
Thank you, Adas. Okay, so what we just saw, we built the Nagomi program performance management model because we believe this is something the security team needed for a while now. This is a unified system of record for the entire security program, one that just doesn't just collect data, but actually contextualize it automatically. It's correlated across teams, it's added the threat and control knowledge base to it to really drive insight, understand what's working, what not, and where to focus. Unlike dashboards that just focus on activity, this model map performance directly to exposure. We can talk about how we are improving versus our key risks like ransomware phishing or specific threat actors that might target in our organization. This is how we can drive impact, not just mark checkbox. The platform automate all the heavy lifting and manual reporting. There is no need to use spreadsheet anymore, data through charts, or emailing dozens of people for update. Best of all, it translates technical data with business context. This makes it easier to align teams, makes faster decisions, and demonstrate value across the organization. Whether you're reporting to a board, to a stakeholder in the business unit, or delegating tasks to your own team. Everything here is fueled by our proactive defense platform, which we build with a strong edges that piece together and correlate the interconnected data of your asset, threat, and defenses. We talk a lot about the challenges that security teams facing, but we want to make it move from reactive reporting to confident strategic leadership. But don't take it just from us. We want to share with you a couple of examples from our existing customer base that already implement this model and start to communicate this. We saw real impact. We saw that annually for some organization, over almost 300 hours saved annually on reporting and dashboard creation. We saw a drastic tool cost saving around $250,000 just by identifying and removing redundancies between the platform and understanding where we got overlaps. And we got to almost 50% faster remediation times. And reclaiming up to 3 full-time resources by eliminating manual reporting, manual burden. This is all done with the Nagomi security platform. And one of our customers said it best. Nagomi is not just another tool; it's becoming a system of records. This is how our entire environment is look like and how it's being secured. Another one told us that this is the tool that they're using for themselves. This is where they go to get the full picture. This is where their team go to understand what matters most. So the Nagomi performance management model can help you cut report time, reclaim team capacity, and most importantly, connect your security effort with business outcome. This is all done with one connected view. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Hadas. That being said, just wanted to remind everyone, please, if you have any questions, leverage the Q&A functionality of Zoom webinar to submit them. We do have a couple of questions that were received here. The first question here is, can individual dashboards be exported to PDF, PowerPoint to be shared with stakeholders?
Yes, yes, they can. So reporting is available both directly from the dashboard itself. So you can export it and share it that way. And also, of course, from the reporting center, which is with pre-built reports.
Thank you, Hadas. The second question, it's kind of similar going with the dashboarding itself, is there a way to customize the same dashboard for multiple stakeholders, for example, for a security executive and a SecOps leader?
Yes. So the way we build Nagomi is a way to create abstract data layers. So basically, we can create one view that is more aggregative over time, share us the high-level KPIs and where we need to view our program as a whole, while there is more tailored, dedicated views for SecOps person that can really drive action, understand how the week should look like and where they should focus on the resolution of a particular asset, configuration change, policy update, etc.
Thank you, Jonathan. And the last question that we have here that I've received during the webinar is, can this module be used to show or prove security ROI? If yes, how?
Yes, that's one of the main reasons we build Nagomi, is to really help organizations understand what is the outcome of the way they are deploying. So the way our platform assess security tool deployment, we are looking at everything from license utilization to actual deployment, configuration, policy, etc., in a way that we can calculate the way how well are we utilizing this tool, but also cross-correlate with the impact that it helps us derive against our key risk, like how much of a specific tool like our endpoint or our identity help us reduce risk against ransomware or phishing. That's a way that is measurable and presentable within our platform.
Thank you again, Jonathan. Just again, last reminder, if you have any questions, please do feel free to submit them via Q&A. Alternatively, if you do not have any questions today, but as you go to our website and look for additional insights about the Nagomi platform and would like a personalized demo, please do leverage the request demo functionality on our website, and we can reach out to you and give you a custom demo for this. With that being said, I would like to thank all the attendees and also our amazing presenters, Hadass and Jonathan, for taking the time to share insights about the new Nagomi Program Performance Management module. Have a wonderful afternoon or rest of the day. Thank you again. Bye.
Thank you.